Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Panchatattva ki, Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Grand Yoga to Sri Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Vichardine Nivasesha Sanyavadi Astachade Shatardine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 12, Text 34. Tatoti Shrishta Sukrito Kritarhanam Pushpai Suga Apsala Shashtanartanai Itai Suravajya Tarastya Vadanya Badyakai Stavaischa Vipra Jaya Vishvanayagana. Thereafter, everyone being pleased, the demigods began to shower flowers from Nandana Kanana. The celestial dancing girls began to dance, and the Gandharvas, who are famous for singing, offered songs of prayer. The drummers began to beat their kettle drums, and the Brahmanas offered Vedic hymns. In this way, both in the heavens and on the earth, everyone began to perform his own duties, glorifying the Lord. So what's happened is that Aghasura has just been not just killed by Krishna, but delivered by Krishna. And all the cowboys have been saved from the grips of death, so to speak. Unconscious in the stomach of Aghasura, and now they've been brought back to consciousness by Krishna, and they've all happily marched out of the dead body of Aghasura, and Aghasura has merged into the body of Krishna, and later on he'll attain Svarupya, which means a form similar to that of the Lord in Vaikuntha. He's very lucky demon. And so the story goes on. And now we're hearing how the celebrations are going on for victory, the victory celebrations. Purport: everyone has some particular duty. The Shastra has concluded that everyone should glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his own qualifications. Well, whatever we've all got different qualities. I don't know if we recognize our qualities, maybe, or others' qualities, but everyone's got certain qualities. And when we say qualities, we don't just mean the negative ones. But everyone's got positive qualities. And they are coming, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I am, what is he? The ability in man. Huh? From me everything comes. So our qualities also come from Krishna. I was reading this morning, Devahuti is talking with her son Kapila Dev, and she's explaining how she has become entrapped in the Lord's Maya. And she's explaining that even my entanglement in Maya is coming from you. You could say, well, does that mean that Krishna is wholly and solely responsible for all the good and bad? We're just like arbitrary put into a situation where you, because of Krishna's arrangement, you behave in such and such a way beyond your influence? No, he's reciprocating. His material energy, the ability we have to execute any activity, good or bad, whatever we call it, anything, even the mental plane on which you could say that we ruminate or we go over different thoughts and desires, everything is Krishna's energy. But he's, let's say, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says he's in everyone's heart, guiding everyone's wanderings. He's rewarding everyone according to their surrender. He's in the heart. He's in the heart. He knows everything. So we sometimes think, well, if he knows everything, where's my free will? That's another topic. It's actually not a difficult topic to understand, but it is hard for us to understand because there are limited perspectives. But in terms of energy and the ability, Krishna gives us the facility, it's his energy to act in such and think in such and such a way. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to, because we are not the source of energy. We are ourselves Prakriti. Para-prakriti maybe, but we're nonetheless prakriti. We're not dead matter like the apara-prakriti. We're para-prakriti. We're supreme in that sense. We're spiritual. But we're nonetheless prakriti, which means we are not the Purush. Purush is the source of everything. He's the supreme enjoyer. We are the enjoyed. We're the energy of God. We're not the energetic exactly. We have minute qualities there, but only to, we could say, to adjust slightly the energies of God. We can't create the energies. We can adjust the energies, mix the energies a little bit. So a minute degree, we could say little Purush is there, little Ishwara is there, but only on a small scale, not on the possessor scale of the energies, just on a little bit of independence to utilize them or misutilize them. So Krishna gives that choice. The jiva, or the spirit soul, inherent, that means by nature, has this individuality, this independence to make some choice how we relate to the energies of God. Whether we want to see them in relationship to Him or not. We want to use it for His pleasure or not for His pleasure. That choice we have inherent in the jiva. So that's the result. That's why different situations appear to be created by Krishna's energies, the material energy. Krishna, of course, says, Maya Jakshena Prakriti Sute Sachirashram. The material energy is under his direction, but nonetheless it's a material energy. And he leaves that, he gives that up to Maya to, you could say, reward or punish the living entity in this material world by giving them various forms of karma. Ultimately, Krishna's in control. But he has more important things to do than spend his time just dealing directly, so to speak, with all the little details of this world. He directly deals with his devotees, but not those who are antagonistic, those who are opposed, who are engaged in activities not for the pleasure of the Lord, but for their own pleasure. He leaves that to his Maya, or his material energy. But ultimately, it's his energy, so it's not independent. So all the qualities, even the bad ones, ultimately come from Krishna. He's allowing that because that is our desire and our karma, etc. If you are a singer, anybody a singer? Where is he, Dean? Where is he? Dinanath, where is he? There he is. He's a singer. Some of you are also singers. Some of us try to sing, and some of you are we're all degrees. None of us are a Gandharva exactly. Gandharvas are the heavenly singers. Huh? Their whole being is singing. Their quality is to sing. That's their whole soul activity, to sing. But most of us like to sing a little bit, but sometimes not so much appreciated by others for various reasons. But their singing is absolutely heavenly. We cannot imagine. Even, I don't say that, but we have some very heavenly singers, you could say, in ISKCON, devotees like Madhava and others, who are endowed with very heavenly voices in many ways. But compared to the Gandharvas, I would imagine even their voices are not in the same division or the same league. The same with beauty. The beautiful damsels of this world are not really on the same platform as the beautiful damsels of the heavenly planets. We can't perhaps visualize that because our perspective, our experience is only within the realm of this world. Everything's relative to what we, good and bad of this world. We cannot imagine something beyond our scope of imagination. You know, we don't have, sometimes maybe some memory of the past may fly forward, but generally speaking, that's not the case. If you are a musician, then always a singer, always glorify the Supreme Lord by singing very nicely. If you're a musician, glorify the Lord by playing musical instruments. Dinanath is also a musician. Raj Kishore and Vishvambar, they all like singing. And I think many of you like singing and playing musical instruments. Some of the ladies do probably too. Stanustitasya dharmasya sangsidhir haritoshanam. Sangsidhir haritoshanam is a famous line in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, which means whatever activities we perform should be done for the pleasure of Lord Hari. The perfection of life is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, beginning from this earth up to the celestial kingdom, the decision of all great saintly persons is that whatever qualifications one has acquired should be utilized to glorify the Supreme Lord. Idam mi pungsas tapasaksritasya va Vishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayo avitutata kavibir nirupito yadutamashloka gunanavarnanam. Learned sages have definitely concluded that the infallible, maybe you don't know this word, infallible. Have you heard this word, infallible? Anyone know the meaning of infallible? Pardon?
One who cannot be defeated.
That's one, yeah, that's definitely one language. Undefeatable. It holds true in all circumstances. There's no, you could say there's no question of failure in that sense. It's unfailable, unfallable. It's absolute in one sense. Infallible, the infallible purpose, the absolute purpose, the uncontaminated, unalloyed purpose of the advancement, ultimate purpose, you say, of the advancement of knowledge, austerity, Vedic study, sacrifice, the chanting of hymns, and charity is found in the transcendental descriptions of the qualities of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry. This is the perfection of life. One should be trained how to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead by one's respective qualities. Education, austerity, penance, or in the material world, business, industry, education, in the modern world rather, business, industry, education, and so on, all should be engaged in glorifying the Lord. Whatever they are, even if it's a machine, a scientific theory, material knowledge, material assets, everything should be utilized in the service. It belongs to God. It is Krishna's energy. We've manipulated it somewhat, but nonetheless it still remains his energy. Should be, and our intelligence is energy also, should be utilized for his pleasure. This is the recommendation here. Krishna comes, then everyone in this world will then be happy. If everyone utilizes their God-given gifts, their talents, their qualities, their abilities in the service of Krishna, everyone will be happy. Because we'll be connecting Krishna's energy to Krishna. We'll be connecting our own consciousness to Krishna. Tissues. Krishna comes, therefore, to exhibit his transcendental activities. And a cup of water, please. So that people may have the chance to glorify him in every respect. To understand how to glorify the Lord is actual research work. That's what we should be researching. Not how to exploit God's energy, but how to utilize it for his pleasure. It can look almost the same, but it has opposite result. Like trying to exploit the energy of God means birth and death. Utilizing everything in God's service means liberation. Opposite effect. You can be driving a car for sense gratification, driving a car for Krishna's pleasure. Same activity, opposite result. consciousness. That's the primary field. You could say primary field of change, of result, is on the level of consciousness. It is not that everything should be understood without God. That is condemned, to try to understand things without God. Even to try to enjoy things which belong to God for oneself is a sinful activity. Thank you. And a cup of water would be appreciated. Bhagavat bhaktihinasya jati shastram japastapaha apranasya eva dehasya mandanam lokam ranjanam nam. It would be nice to see the translation of that verse. Some devotees, they're adamant that nothing should be changed. But, Prabhupada has given that verse, and many times he would not give the translation, which he hasn't done here. And I don't know word for word what the translation is, approximately. But it would be nice to know. If you have a shloka book, you will find it in shloka book. We have shloka book? No, you won't find it on the board, huh? Will you? Yeah, the book in the book, which will be the same as on the board, it doesn't give the translation. There's a few words which describe it, but it's not the translation exactly. It's just it's just a comment on the translation. It's not the comment, it's not the translation. If anyone has, I don't have my computer here, but you can find the translation on Vedabase. What does it say? What does it say? What does it say the translation is? I can't see the board, so I can't say. Somebody must be able to see the board. Pardon?
Doesn't have any.
Can someone put the explanation or purport to the board?
If you are watching on
And
internet,
make it zoom?
with a bed on internet,
He can be found. Anyway, that's something you can do as time goes on. You can just look that verse up on your mobile phones. Huh? More or less, without Bhagavat Bhakti, Bhagavat Bhakti Hinasya, it's more or less there anyway. Without glorification of the Supreme Lord, it's just a brief summary of the verse here. And whatever we have is simply a decoration of a dead body. Pranasya eva dehasya. It's a body without prana. Prana means lifeless. Nasyaiva. Dehasya is the body. A body without life. Mandanam, to decorate. Loka ranjanam, is like decorating that dead body. Ranjanam. So if we don't utilize this body in the service of Krishna, we utilize it for our own glorification. The mind, the words, the intelligence. Then it's like decoration of a dead body. Because ultimately it is a dead body. We don't see it like that maybe. But it is. If the soul's not there, what is it? What is it without the soul? Just a lump of matter, right? Have you ever kicked a dead... No, you probably haven't. Not the human one, I hope. Maybe you accidentally kicked another type of species, I don't know. But if someone were to kick a dead body, what would happen? You might hurt your foot. Right? Maybe the thing will move because you kicked it. But it doesn't react. Hey! It doesn't suddenly get up and kick you back. Of course, sometimes you see movies like this or some, whatever, fiction thing. But the normal standard is a dead body does not react. It's not affected, huh? I don't know what's going on. But when the soul's there, it appears to be affected. The body reacts. It's actually the presence of the soul. It's not exactly the body, although the body is, you could say, the manifestation of apparent reaction. But it's the effect, you could say, experienced or perspective, the perceived by the soul, and then the soul, whatever. In one sense, of course, you could say the soul is aloof, and it's like a passenger witnessing all these changes. There's a karma going on. When the body is dead, there's no karma there. There's no more. It's that particular cycle of karma is over. It's like your prison sentence is over in that body. But because we're still criminal by mentality, we're still seeing ourselves as the enjoyer, even if we're pious. I was reading this morning too, also Prabhupada was saying that even pious activities, I was looking for that quote and it was right there in the third canto, that even pious activities, what we call pious charity work, welfare work, helping people with their health and so on, which is not unrecommended. It's part of our, you could say, human behavior and can be a part of our gradual evolution, but in of itself is a sinful activity. Any activity which is not done properly for the welfare or the pleasure of the Lord is considered sinful. Now that's, relatively speaking, something that obviously most people would not relate with or even agree with, maybe devotees. We also have a hard time sometimes grasping that because we still are attached to the mode of goodness. We're not attached to the transcendental mode. We still look at things from a material perspective. Have they locked you out, Braj? Are you locked out? Who's in there? What are they doing in there?
Yes,
Rascals. You have to go through the back door. Here they are. Door's open. Sinful activity is defined as any activity done for one's own sense gratification. Good or bad. You know, people do welfare work and everything. It's for material reasons. To try to enjoy the senses more. Or to continue the process of sense gratification longer. And if you look at it from a practical point of view, what really good are you doing? You found something?
No, it's not on the database.
No. It must be there.
We went on internet database and there is no you cannot go.
I'm pretty, anyway, whatever. I was quite sure this verse is in the verse book. You know the verse book? Anyway, I'll look afterwards. So, what is the use? You're helping someone to live longer. If they're not a devotee, what are they going to do with their longer life? Say you put some heart transplant. Okay, there we go. That's a kind of quite a radical example, but quite a vivid one. A heart, I don't hear about it nowadays. Maybe it's common, I don't know. But a heart transplant. They used to talk about it a lot. They still do, I guess. You've heard of they can actually put a heart from somebody maybe died in an accident or something, which is still, if they get it quick enough, they can somehow or another, and a man who's dying of some heart disease, they can, if it's compatible, change the heart. Put the heart from the one body into another, and maybe they can keep the man who gets the new heart, maybe they can keep it going. Say the man died, he had got cut in half or something in an accident, but his heart is still perfectly good. They take it out of that dead body, and they put it into a dying body, and take the old heart out and do what they like with it. And they put a new heart in. Well, he's the same man, although he may behave a little different, because the body will be a little different. But basically he's the same person. And he lives an extra, say, 5 years. Well done. Thank you so much. That was wonderful kindness of you. But what are you going to do in your 5 years? What are you going to do? I don't mean a devotee. I mean a normal person. Not these crazy Hare Krishnas, but a normal person. What are they going to do? Pretty simple question. Pretty simple answer. What are they going to do? Come on, wake up.
Enjoy it.
Try to enjoy, huh? Okay. They're going to try to enjoy their senses. They're going to drink. They're going to smoke. They're going to eat meat. So what good have you really done to them? The result of that is what?
You help them to be more sinful.
Yeah, you just help them to suffer more. Is that really good work? Is that really helping anyone? Now, if that person gets that extra 5 years and they use it in devotional service, then, of course, that's different. But that's not normally the case. Very rarely. Even sometimes amongst devotees. Or, let's say, neophyte devotees. I know there was one devotee, obviously neophyte, but he was somebody told him he was terminal sickness. Terminally sick. So he decided he would, I'm going to die soon in next year. So he kind of got a little serious about chanting and hearing. Tried to be. And, he just chant. But then he got another medical checkup and said, "You're perfectly all right." And he went back to the material world. Okay, something's there, neophyte stage, but it's not, it's not a very advanced stage of devotional service, but some benefit is there. But in one sense, it would have been better if he died while he was chanting Hare Krishna. Right? Something in his karma, his desire, he had to, go through a little bit more yet before he was fortunate enough for that, I guess. But most people don't realize it. That's why, where there's that very famous, Prabhupada talks about that on his Guru Maharaj's Tirubhava, that one time there was a saintly person and he came across a prince, the son of a king, prince. And what did he tell the prince? He gave him a blessing. "Please give me a blessing," the prince said. "I blessed you to what?" What did he bless him? What blessing did he give him? What blessing did he give? What did he bless him? Anyone know? Yeah, live forever. Of course, he can't live forever, but he blessed him. He lived as long as, in one sense, forever, but as long as he can. Why? Oh, what a nice blessing, huh? Why? Yeah, well, he's engaged in all kinds of sinful activity now, and when you die, you're going to have a mountain of sinful reaction. So better you carry on. It's not really a blessing in one sense, but as far as the prince is concerned, he'd probably see it like that. People see it like that. Hey, if I can get away with it, let me just carry on. I hope it never catches up on me. Nonsense activity. We also do that sometimes. Then he came across a brahmachari. A brahmachari. Are you one of those brahmacharis? What did he bless him? The brahmachari is fully engaged in serving the spiritual master, doing tapasya, helping him with yagyas and chanting mantras and following all the regulated principles and so on. So he blessed him too? Die right now. Thank you. What a lovely blessing. Die immediately. Ah! Why? Huh? Huh? Maybe you can go, at least get liberated, huh? Because he's not engaged in any sinful activity. He's focused on spiritual path, at least. Following a spiritual master. He's not entangled. After a few years, he'd probably get married. It often happens, even in the Philippines. Some of the brahmacharis and brahmacharinis, some of them get married. I've heard about it. So then he came across a pure Vaishnav, devotee, real devotee. What did he say? Blessed him. You may live or die, it doesn't make any difference to you. While living, you're in the spiritual world. While dying, you go to the spiritual world. As you or the Lord wishes. It doesn't matter. Then he came across a butcher. What did he say? Blessings. I bless you Don't live, don't die. While living you're in hell, while dying you're in hell. Better not live, better not die. Because that's like, how does that work out? But this is the situation in the material world. People don't know it. They don't know what's going on. All their knowledge, all their education, all their science, what do they know? Next to nothing. Huh? They know nothing. I mean, even if they theoretically, they even state it in science, huh? Every action has a reaction. But when it comes down to their own interaction, they don't accept. Only the external phenomena, they accept that as being every effect. Every cause has, there's an effect to everything we do. There's a cause to every effect. But their own position, that's just by chance. Whatever that is. They don't see that the living entity's own situation is also a reason. There's a cause behind it. It's not just an unfortunate effect or a fortunate effect. There's a cause behind it. And that's where karma comes in. But they don't like to accept. Because that means they have to accept a higher authority. Something more than just dead matter. They have to accept some, higher intelligence, I guess you could say. It's like in the court, you do a crime, but you don't get in prison unless you're sentenced, right? You don't get rewarded some payment for some, whatever, insurance or something, unless it actually goes through the office, the claims office or whatever. It doesn't just happen by chance. You get your reward or punishment because it's decided by somebody. By a judge or by a higher authority. It doesn't happen by chance. So similarly, everything that goes on in our lives, we're mental problem. We heard yesterday about the threefold miseries of this world. And of course, there are varieties of pleasure in the different modes also. Everything is rewarded or punished, whatever way you want to look at it, by a higher authority. But people won't. That part we don't like to accept. We try to, let's say, sidestep that one. We try to find our way around it. We try to avoid it. We try to deny it. We try to do so many things to try to defy the laws of nature. And as soon as we start to try to defy the laws of nature, that is a sinful. We become sinfully entangled. So this is the situation of living entity in this world. Unless we engage our senses, just like great devotees like Ambarish Maharaj. What's that famous verse? Vaimana Krishna Padara Vindayo Vachanksi Vakunta Gunana Varnane, and so on. How he engaged all of his senses, everything. His legs, his arms, his ears, his nose, his tongue, his body, his mind, everything in the service of Krishna. He engaged everything.